Welcome to I'ma Talk About It. I'm Alicia E., empowerment coach and ancestral healer, and I'm here to teach you how to break generational cycles, self-advocate, and ascend to happiness without the guilt of wanting a better life for yourself. You don't have to choose the same path as those before you. You can choose a better way, your way. Because if we can each heal ourselves today, we can heal the world tomorrow together. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. It's been a minute since my last one, and I'm just super excited to be in this space with you all again. As many of you know, I have been traveling around. I've been getting as much rest as I can, and I've also been using my skills also as a photographer to take photos of the marches and protests that I've seen throughout my travel over the last couple months. And so I've been compiling all of those into one place. So I'm hoping that I will be able to get it out to everyone to share, to continue to bring visibility to the genocide that is going on in Palestine and in the Congo, and just continue on my end to contribute in whatever way I can. And today we have a very unique episode. I know it seems kind of straightforward. It's really about beginning your ancestor journey and welcoming spiritual entities, and just how you can actually leverage that skill, that part of you to heal trauma and also help the world. Like, everything is very interconnected, and we don't spend a lot of time talking about this, but I do it a lot with my clients in More Than Worthy, and I do it with some more than others depending on where they're at on their healing journey, because it does require a certain level of openness and curiosity and receptivity to be able to receive messages from your ancestors, from the universe, as guidance. And it actually makes your life a whole lot easier, and it'll increase your income, lessen your anxiety, and just get you to a place where you feel a lot more comfortable in your own skin, but also supported on a whole nother level. So no matter where you go, you have this divine energy around you, and you just magnetize opportunities to yourself. You magnetize loving people into your life. You magnetize support. And again, prosperity is one of the biggest things. Like, you don't have to fight for your money anymore. You can literally just follow your guidance and land in a place where you're going to be making more money, and it's going to be easier for you. And it's probably going to be in a realm or a sector where you're way more happy than you were before. And the reason why I also thought to start with this episode, and I do have some others coming in the meditations, which I talked about previously, is it's very important to understand what is going on in the world and how we can actually be long-term solution-oriented people to heal the trauma that is creating so much chaos in our world right now, and to remain grounded, right? And I thought about this for a long time. And while I was leveraging my platform to share stories from the Palestinian people and continue to bring awareness, it felt like it wasn't enough. And I went back to the drawing board, and the work that I do is very impactful, but I kept telling myself, like, I needed to take a different approach this time. I needed to create multiple streams of income so I can give as much money as I can and give as much time and energy that I can to the community, to future generations that will carry on the same energy of wanting to help the collective, wanting to heal humanity, and not do what we're doing now to innocent people. And it really brought me full circle back to working with your ancestors and how to generate income in a really easy way and alleviate some of the stresses that you feel day to day, because we all live in a society that is very oppressive, and we're conditioned from a very young age to think that we have to work very, very hard. And so there's a lot of pent up frustration. There's a lot of anger. There's a lot of hopelessness that rides just beneath our sense of what could be happiness, but most people aren't even sure what makes them happy. And so when we can start to address that level of upset that's in everybody, then we can create lasting change. And so I decided that I was really going to dig my heels in and create content that would connect people on a completely different level. Because if everybody in the world is connected to their intuition in a very high level and can manifest very quickly their own dreams, their like positive impact in the world, and can generate prosperity that like we've never seen in this world before, then people are going to be naturally a lot happier. And the fact that I also work with people who are basically activists, they don't call themselves activists, but they are social people who care about social change and activism. So if I can put everything I've got into connecting with them, into helping them manifest their wildest dreams, which means impacting the world on a global scale, then that is going to be a lot more long lasting generationally than some of the content that I've been seeing on Instagram. And I'm not saying the other stuff isn't the way to go, but even if there's like some people sharing that content, a lot of the content isn't long-term oriented. So it's what can we do right now? Yes, we need to figure out what we can do right now, and how can we figure out how to prevent genocides in the future. So that is the approach I'm taking. So I'm basically revamping, as many of you know, I'm revamping my one-on-one. I'm revamping all of my coaching, and I'm really hitting the ground running with speaking events, which is why you haven't really seen me a lot on social media, and also opening up other streams as being an influencer and being an author and being all these things that I'm so like multi-talented at, so that I can continue to invest in other people as well and help them on their journey. So I thought that today we can really talk about beginning your ancestor work and what that really looks like, and how you can tangibly start to see results in your life in a way that's not going to stress you out, that's not going to cost you a ton of money. And then you can start manifesting, and then you can start healing and loving yourself and loving humanity in a deeper way. And it'll be long term. So that was a long-winded answer for why I wanted to do this episode, but I thought it was really important that I kind of share my thinking behind it, because I know I've been shifting a lot in my business and I don't always share it, so I just wanted to bring some visibility around that. And so I'm going to talk about really quickly like why ancestor work in particular is really important, and then how to actually begin. So make sure that you have either a pen and paper with you, or you can just listen to this later, but really be proactive with the way you live your life. I think of, I've been taking some classes from Master Sri Akashna, and he always says how you do one thing is how you do everything. And so if you are not as serious about taking notes and not as serious about creating change, that's how you likely do everything in your life. So I'm just going to say, once we get to the part where it's like how to begin, or even right now, make sure you have something to write with if you want. If writing is not your thing, then whatever way helps you remember and actually implement, I invite you to do that. This is going to be like coaching and podcasts. Here we go. So first, with connecting with your ancestors and why it's so important, it's really important that all of us individually understand how to connect to our roots, who we are literally birthed from, where we came from, in order to heal our own trauma, our mind, our body, and our spirit, right? So I want you to think about spiritual spaces, right? And I talk about this all the time, and appropriation, and how it's really dangerous. So if you don't know where you're from, you can't figure out how to heal with your ancestors, because we are our ancestors. We carry that energy, and you likely carry the same tendencies that they had, which if you are a Black presenting person or a Black femme presenting person in this world, there's a lot of trauma that we carry from having to assimilate, from having to not be vocal, from having to work 10 times harder for literally a fraction of the pay of most of the public, right? So we carry all of that. And even if you go back into slavery, and it still happens now. Let's not be naive about it, where people were being raped and they were being murdered and they were being whipped. That energy is still carried within us, right? We have to learn how to heal that and heal our ancestors so we can work together. So, if you don't know where you come from, you don't know what to heal and you don't know how to heal it. And you don't understand historically why you may show up in spaces in society day to day in the way that you do and why you're being treated the way that you are. So it's important to understand who you are, where you come from, so you can find that balance within your mind, body, and spirit. And another point is, working with the ancestors helps you have a deeper understanding of who you are and your family's lineage. So that kind of ties into the last one, but it's also more of your physical family that you have right now. So, what did your family go through? What was their story from the time that their family line was born up until this point, right? Again, going back to my own lineage, I have a very mixed lineage, but I focus on mostly the side that is African and Black and Indigenous as well. And I I really have done a lot of research on where they came from in Africa, where they went all over Asia, where when they got to the US and where they were in Europe, and how, my grandma eventually picked oranges all the way across the US to get to California, like prohibition and selling, like all sorts of things. So me knowing that information understands why my mom is the way that she is now, because of what my grandma had to do and her hyper independence and their need to again assimilate, why they wore their hair a certain way, why they talked a certain way, why, you know, as someone like myself who came from different education, like, why was it that my uncle would hang up on me because he thought my voice sounded too white? Right? So there's little things like that where I needed to know what the hell was going on in my family so I could understand myself and what I needed to change going forward, because I always see it as the buck stops with me. Everything after me is going to be a lot better. But I'm taking it upon myself to have a deeper understanding again of where my family comes from so I can understand myself so I can change my lineage going forward. Another point is, so working with your ancestors helps you undo years of appropriation that has wholeheartedly fucking plagued our society and our ancestors. So this one, I'm really pointing towards my white presenting family right now and understanding that, yes, as someone who presents as white, yes, you have certain privileges. Yes, you accidentally or sometimes intentionally, I don't know you very much, but mostly accidentally continue to oppress people. It's continuous. And that you are racist, yes, by nature. Even if you choose to not be, you are. And that many of the things that you have in your life do not belong to you. So I invite everyone, especially in my white femme community, to really understand how they can undo the appropriation in their life and create a legacy with their family going forward in a way that is accurate to who they are from their own lineage, right? This is something that I've been talking about a lot, especially with my friend Emily, who, has been very sweet and very nice. And just a fucking firecracker to be able to take on space and questions from white femmes who have been in my community and are choosing to ask questions about racism and things like that. It's not my place to educate them. I don't want to do it. It's not for me to do it. And I think it's more impactful when it does come from someone from your community who can really tell you the truth. And you may not like it, and that it is what it is. I mean, I know it's not fun to be called racist, but it is what it is. So now do something about it. And I also realize that when I talk to people and I tell them, yeah, you're racist, Even if you don't go around saying racist things, you probably don't even know what's racist and what's not, and how you interact or how you talk to people or how you and your niceties will actually get someone hurt or like all of these things, right? So understand who you are, where you come from, and undo your appropriation. And there's been times, for me and my family where I can see appropriation come where it's just a mix of cultures and you start to see oppression kind of seep its way into other brown and black communities. And then, it's very frustrating to see. And we see it a lot in politics, just this sort of almost like a brainwashing kind of where you pit yourself against other communities. And so it's important to understand how oppression and appropriation work so we can really undo them. And to do that, one of the best ways is to work with your ancestors and to educate yourself and work with the community. So another point with working with your ancestors is to bring awareness to the pain caused by appropriation. So that's like a continuation of the last point, understanding the pain that you are actually causing. And I want to share this story because my friend and I talked about this, and this is less so maybe around appropriation, but it's more so about the impact of oppression. And it had specifically to do with niceties and white people being really fragile and like not wanting to upset people, and then white women being really fragile and like all these things. So we had the pleasure of getting our car towed, and we went to this car towing place, and Emily was the one talking on the phone. And people have a tendency to change the way their voice sounds when they talk to someone on the phone, right? They go, "Oh my God," like, "Hi, yes," and like all these things. And that's because of niceties, right? Like you mask yourself immediately in order to sound whatever way you've been conditioned to sound. And so we both walk up to the car place. But right before that, Emily had answered the phone, and, we had talked about how sometimes her voice changes depending on, the conversation or whatever. And, we were like, yeah, let's work on this. And we get to the place. And the owner who was, we had to talk to was a black male, presented as a black male. And they were like, okay, one of you needs to go grab the registration or whatever. And so she went to do that. And I stood there, and he was like, what is she scared she's going to get shot or something? And I was like, what? And he was like on the phone, he mentioned that her voice was changing, like, oh yeah, like really timid, kind of scared. And in that moment, I was like, this is a very good example of how something so small as a nicety or a change in intonation when the way you're speaking can cause an impact on someone else, right? Because it's also energy. People can tell when you change. They may not understand why you change, but they can tell that you change. And then there's the historical context of she was a white female and he was a black male, right? Historically, bad mix. Bad mix, right? White women have a history of calling the cops and being fearful and causing issues and taking away black lives, right? So we have to understand the context and understand how everything works and do the ancestral healing at the same time. And so I was really glad that he had told me that, because I knew that my friend was doing the work to undo trauma and things like that, right? Because her own lineage, her own family history, having to work too hard and like having to not upset people, right? That was why she did it. But the intention wasn't known. But historically, there was an assumption, right? Assuming makes an ass of you of me, but also makes sense. And so I had said, sometimes people talk really like their tone changes every time they pick up the phone. I'm like, it wasn't directed at you at all. And she's actually not scared. I think she's not scared of you. I think she's nervous in general of upsetting people in positions of power which you have her car, and she has never had her car towed before. And so this is something new for her. And I'm like, you don't have to hold space for that by any means, but I appreciate you saying something because hopefully that cleared it up. And he was just laughing, and I was like, I appreciate Black people because they're very straightforward. And I'm like, you felt safe enough to ask, and I'm glad that could be cleared up. But had I not been there, he would have been going through that whole conversation about how this woman was really scared, and he probably would have been giving off really strange energy, and she would have been giving off really strange energy because it's a new place and she's nervous around anybody who is in that position of power. But like is actually really confident. And so sometimes it just comes out, but can cause all this friction for no fucking good reason. And so it's really important, again, that you pay attention to how everything affects everything else, right? The pain that she was feeling, the pain that he was feeling, all caused from oppression, racism, colonialism, imperialism, colliding at one time because of one misunderstanding. So this is really, 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 really important. I want you to hear me, that you do your ancestor work and you do your generational work every single moment of every single day. And the last thing I want to say about why it's important to do ancestor work before I get into how you can actually begin is that femmes can actually start to reclaim their bodies and their cultural practices to help them on their journey. And as brown and Black and indigenous folks, people of color, our practices have been ripped away from us in many, 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 many cultures that were conquered and still are trying to be conquered, like it's going on in Congo, right? They don't get to practice their practices because they're in slavery and they're being pushed to death so that people can have fucking iPhones. So I want you to understand that when we can do our healing, it heals so many other people, right? Because if I didn't do my generational healing and my healing of my body and connecting with my ancestors, I wouldn't be able to see the trauma and feel the trauma that the people in Congo are experiencing. Like I wouldn't have been able to do it. And now I can do it because I wholeheartedly understand. And I am wholeheartedly connected to my heart chakra. I'm wholeheartedly connected to my body. My body signals to me when something is wrong. And so when you can't do that, if you live in just a shallow-minded state, you can't help the world. It's impossible for you to help the world. So understand that it's a matter of life and death that you understand how to connect with your body and how it can help you on your journey. So now let's talk about how to really begin your practices, because this is obviously something that you really want to know about. And I'm not going to go super in depth on a lot of these points because I want to keep it simple and I want it to be attainable. And I think a lot of the ancestor work that I like to teach, I like to do it within my container because it does bring up a lot of trauma. So I want to be mindful about what I actually share, and it's not a gatekeeping thing. It's a safety thing, which many of you know I take very seriously. So the first thing I want you to do is ask yourself, why do you want to do the work? So why is it that you want to do the work? And I want you to write it in your journal. And I want you to write about it. And even if you need to spend a day, a couple days, a week, I want you to sit on that fully and answer it with more than one sentence. I want you to really tap into your heart center and ask yourself, why do you want to do the work? Because if you can answer that question wholeheartedly and ground yourself into it, you will be able to do it every single step of the way on your journey going forward. There will be no one who can get in your way, right? This is why we talk about 7 layers of why for my clients who know what I'm talking about. If you have a rooted why, no one can fucking rip your roots out. So sit with why you want to do the work and journal about it. And then once you have the answer, set an intention for yourself about how you're going to achieve it. Every single time. Set an intention. And I want it to be a good intention. Don't give me no half-ass intention, right? I want it to be really heart-centered. And I want you to be really fucking honest with yourself. And I want you to be unbiased about it because we need to do the generational work and we need to do it now, not yesterday. We need to do it now. I mean, like yesterday. You know what I mean? Not tomorrow, not like a year away from now. We need to do it fucking now. Okay. So the next point is I want you to understand for your how and to begin your work that ancestor work is a journey. It is not a sprint. So this means you can't fucking rush through all your ancestor work. If you try and rush through, you're not as dedicated as a person as you think you are. Because ancestor work is a lifelong practice. Ancestor work is not something that you pick up one week and then you do the next month, maybe. That's a shitty ancestor practice, and it's disrespectful to your ancestors to act like that. It's disrespectful to yourself, and it's disrespectful to this space, and it's disrespectful to the earth. It's disrespectful, period. So I want you to understand that when you do your ancestor work, this is a lifelong journey. This is a lifelong commitment. It's a lifelong generational ripple effect that you must wholeheartedly commit to now. So as you write your why, I want you to keep that in mind, right? And so one of the first things you can do, which I have all of my clients do, and people who are in my workshops also do, I have them prepare their bodies and their space. So I have prepare your temple and space. That's number 1. Or it could be number 3. However you want, you could just bullet point. I don't care what you do. Just do it. Prepare your temple and your space. So when I say temple, I mean your body. So what state is your body in right now? Are you tired all the time? Are you excited? Are you happy? Are you upset? Do you feel kind of sluggish? Are you bloated? I want you to look at your body, feel into your body, and prepare it for your ancestor work. This is why I work with my clients over 6 months, because we prepare together their temple in the beginning of the journey. We set clear expectations. We understand that for 6 months, they will be eating differently. They will be moving their body differently, and they will be meditating differently so that their temple is in a very high energetic frequency to be able to release all of this trauma over 6 months and then sustainably continue their journey down the road. So I want you to think about what your body is doing right now and what you need to do. How do you need to be eating? How do you need to make some changes? Do you need to go through your refrigerator and donate some food, donate some stuff from your pantry, and then buy food that is higher frequency, food that is fresh from the earth, food that is not within packages? If you have the accessibility to do that, I want you to be honest with yourself. Are you actually respecting your body enough right now to be able to take this journey? If the answer is no, I want you to do something about it. For your space, I want you to clean your space. Not like I'm going to just shove shit under my bed. I'm going to clean my space. I'm going to go through each and every nook and cranny of my whole house, my drawers, my chonies, my whatever it is. I'm going to look at them. Are they old? Get rid of them. If you have clothes you don't wear, donate them. I want all of your old energy, all of your lower frequency clothes out of your house, and I want you to donate them. Find a way to recycle them, whatever it is. Do not let them get to the landfill. But I want you to scrub your place, clean your bathtub, clean your toilet, wipe your mirrors down. Because ancestor work is very sacred. And people think that having a candle on your desk amongst all this shit is a respectful thing to do, right? Yes, you can do that. But also, would you actually be happy if all of your ancestors walked into your house right now to help you and to share their stories with you, and you share their stories so you can all share in love and community to move forward? Would you put them in the place where you just put them? Would you? Like, be honest. Like, I want you to see this in a different lens, because our spiritual practices have been so appropriated that people think they can walk up into a spiritual store and buy a crystal and be healed. Okay, so A lot of spiritual practices, especially ancestral practices, take time. That's why you see in hoodoo, in voodoo, it's not something you do overnight. There is a practice of getting your mind right. There's a practice of eating. There's herbal medicine that goes along with everything that you do. If you do not have practices like that, you are likely doing it wrong and you are appropriating. So I want you to clean your space. This is a part of the work. If you want aligned energy, if you want to give generational healing a full shot, you need to step up and do it correctly. So now let's go into the next point. So actually get your space prepared. So after you clean it, it's now time to prepare. I want you to pick a spot for where you're going to do your ancestor work, whether it's going to be your altar or a meditation space or both of them. Ideally, together in one place is going to be great, right? And again, I want you to think about if your ancestors came to this space, is it going to be amazing for them? Right? That's how I see it. I love having my altar and my ancestor stuff in a part of my room where there's this long ledge and it's on the window. So every morning, they get the best sunlight. They get the best warmth, the wind. I come and I pour them coffee. I come and bring them tea. They have snacks. I dust it, like whatever it is. I put my money up there. I take care of them like they are my family because they are my family. And so I want you to find a space in your house, in your space. It doesn't you don't need to have a big house to do this, but you just find a space that you can make into a really beautiful, welcoming place. And you don't have to spend a ton of money, but wherever it is that you fully connect, that you feel like you can sit there and meditate with them, talk to them, write to them, receive them, is going to be the place that you want to go. And they'll sometimes, if you are already working with your ancestors and you just want to zhuzh it up a little bit or you want to connect a little bit more, then meditate and ask them to show you where they want to go. I did this for some of my clients and they literally told me what shelf. They told me what shelf to put it on and they showed it to me and then I let them know and they're like, oh my gosh, I already have something there. Perfect. They like that shelf, right? Further confirmation. One of the things I also have on here as a side point, I don't usually put my ancestor stuff on my bedside tables. That kind of weirds me out. It's a personal preference, but I think give them their own space. That's why I wrote that in there. But if it's the only place you have, put it there. I also am very sensitive to energy when I sleep. So having ancestor stuff right next to my pillow ain't a place that I want them because I would also like some sleep. Okay, so on to the next point you can do for how to begin your ancestor work is pick a day or days of the week that you are really fucking lit up. Your favorite days of the week, right? I want you to pick days that you're going to designate as your ancestor days because I want this to be realistic, right? If you are traveling or if you have to go into the office or if you have kids, whatever it is, you're going to have a busy schedule. And so I want to be really mindful of that. If you don't and you have the luxury of working from home, I want you to do your ancestor work every day, right? You have access to it. If you have children, you can't do it. It's not something feasible, then pick one day or pick every other day or whatever schedule is easier for you. Maybe your kids go to school at a certain time and then you have an hour in between or something like that. Or, you have an hour towards the end of the day or right before bed, whatever it is, pick a time that you can do your ancestor work for 5 to 10 minutes. If you work from home and you have the luxury of doing your ancestor work for longer than 5 to 10 minutes, then I want you to do that every single day and implement it as part of your morning practice. Your morning practice is going to be the best time to work with them. But again, be flexible, right? As long as you are doing the work, that is what's most important. And the reason why I say pick a day that really lights you up is because this is a part of my framework that many of my clients know, self-awareness, environment, the plan. So being aware of what you actually like, 2, your environment. So curating your environment, and then the plan, how to follow through. So your environment is what's what's really going to help you gravitate and have that consistency to go back to your altar, go back to your meditation space. So if you are naturally excited on like a Friday, then I want you to do your altar work on Friday, because you wake up and you're like, oh yeah, it's fucking Friday, I'm gonna go head over to my altar. Like, it becomes a natural habit because you're already in that really high frequency. So pick times and days that are good for you, and when your energy is actually super aligned, times that you will naturally gravitate towards doing it, right? That's how you get the consistency. That's how you get the follow through without having to stress yourself out and like put it on your calendar, right? So now for, it's kind of the last point, but I have points underneath it. I want you to be clear on what you are wanting to receive before communicating. So this is something that you can do as you're setting it up or before every time you do your ancestor work, right? This is something you can do in the beginning. So be clear. You can journal about this in your why as well. Like, what is it that you are wanting to receive or wanting to communicate with the ancestors before you actually do it? Because again, they have their own lives, we have our own lives, and it's a sign of respect to find that clarity. If you don't have the clarity, some ancestors will help you find the clarity. You can ask them, and sometimes they'll answer and sometimes they won't, because it might be a part of your journey to figure it out before they actually answer. So that is something I want you to focus on, because clarity makes it easier for you to connect, right? Clarity is connection. So if you have a really foggy mind, it's so fucking hard to meditate, right? It's like if you've had a really busy day and you go to yoga and all you keep thinking about is how you fucking forgot to send that email, and like how you have all these other things to do, you can't focus, like, because your mind's too wild. It's the same thing. You can't connect with your ancestors and receive their messages if you have energetic blocks within your body, which include busyness, right? Busyness, anxiety, depression, any of those things that are really going to distract your mind and your energy and your body and your spirit from actually receiving messages. And then just another thing, be open to their guidance as you go down this journey. A lot of people like to make fun of ancestor guidance, which I think depends on the ancestors. Sometimes they are really funny, but I think they're also going to give you guidance that's really important. So be open to their guidance, even if you don't like it. They probably are telling you something that's really important. And sometimes it's for you and sometimes for someone else. And you can decide if you want to share that information or not, depending on how far you are in your practice. But this is how you can really start your ancestor practice. So again, make sure you have your journal, asking yourself why, journaling about it, setting your intentions, and then preparing your temple, preparing your space, cleaning, like pick your days of the week. Make it a really beautiful space for yourself, and then visit the altar every single time. Visit the altar as much as you can. On my altar, I will actually do a video on TikTok, if you're following me, about what's actually on my altar. I'm not going to show you everything because a lot of it is private, but I will show you general things that I have up there: cloths, flowers, hand-woven things from my own people. From indigenous folks as well, and like jewelry and things that I'm manifesting and stuff like that, and it can kind of build out from there. But that's where I'm going to stop today for like beginning your ancestor work. I'll probably do another episode about the next phase on how you can actually build your altar, what you can put on there, and how you can make the most of your practice, and how to actually do the healing on your journey, because I feel like that's going to need its own episode. But for now, I am going to keep it there. I feel like that was plenty of information. I'm proud of you if you had your notebook and you're ready to fucking go. If not, what happened? Get lit, get your notebook, and re-listen, rewind. So I am sending you all lots of love. Again, if you have questions, please feel free to let me know. I am booking speaking events. So if you are needing any sort of workshops, any sort of in-person speaking events, I do have a link for that now. So you are welcome to head over to my page and check it out. Even if you want me to guest star in one of your trainings, I can do that for you as well. I can come to your healing events. We can do some yoga. We can do some inner child, like whatever it is that you are wanting. I invite you to just fill out the link and we can have a conversation about it, and see how I can best support your community. And I would also just love for all of you to just pass on this information for me. I'm really trying to get my information out as much as I can, to do as much healing as I can, to be as supportive as I can, so we can really stop this genocide and teach people how to be compassionate and how to love themselves again. And if you haven't already, grab a copy of my book. It's a really easy read. It's basically an autobiography about my life and what I went through, and how, just like a reminder of, we are so fucking resilient no matter what we go through, and you will always land on top. But it really took me understanding myself and breaking apart all of the situations that I was in and having compassion for myself. And yes, I will be writing other books after that one. There's been quite a few who are like, so what's next? I'm cheering you on. What's next? Write another one. And I'm like, I got you. It's going to be a whole series. So I'm really excited to share that with you all. Join my email list. I'm going to be ramping it up again. But again, follow me on TikTok. If you're on my Instagram, hop over onto TikTok. I'm dropping usually 2 to 3 videos a day, either lessons or something inspirational. And I'm going to try and really ramp it up with the podcast now that I'm in a steady schedule, and I'm going to be continuing working on my speaking and all the things. So I am sending you all so much love and so many hugs. Please, please, please do not be afraid to ask me questions. I will be opening up coaching again. Just at the moment, signups are closed. If you want to know more about them, I invite you to join my email list, because I will announce it on there first. I always like to announce it on there first because I want to give all of you like first dibs. And when I do stuff in my store, or I'm selling candles, because I am a bruja, like when I do all of those things, you will also usually get a 10% off coupon towards the things that I sell, depending on the product. So I will be opening that up, and I have some fun herbal teas that are coming your way. So I can't wait to share that with you all. You can also put them on your altar, but it's going to really help your menstrual cycle. So again, I'm sending you all lots of love. That was a really long goodbye. I don't care. Love you. I wanted to share some information. Follow me on TikTok. Join my email group, and let me know if you need any sort of speaking support, meditations, yoga, whatever it is. Fill out that link and I will get back to you to schedule some time. So I'm sending you all lots of love, lots of hugs. Please, please, please be kind to your community. Share as much love as you can. Don't talk shit. Nobody needs it. We need a lot of love and togetherness and compassion. So do your best to support people in any way you can, even down to a hello or a hug or some money on the side of the road. Just keep paying it forward so we can create a better world. And I'm sending you all, as always, lots of love. Thank you so much for showing up for me. Thank you for showing up for yourself and really helping to create a better world. And I will talk to you all later. Hey, if you're ready to ascend to happiness and live the life you've always wanted, join me in my Empowered Living Facebook group for socially conscious healers, witches, and spirituals, and sign up to get my free Empowered 5 Practices to Ascended Happiness guide. It's helped others expand their consciousness and soar beyond sight, sound, and imagination in just one day. It's the catalyst you need to embrace your magic and change the world. Just click the link in the show notes, and I'll see you in the group next time.